With a show of hands, if you've ever been asked, what do you want to become when you grow up? Can I see your hands up? Can you hear me? Okay. All right. Pardon me, this is my first TEDx talk. And I'm very sure many of you must have been in positions like this where you never thought you'd be in the spotlight. And a few years later, you find yourself standing in front of a crowd. But let me ask you today, how many of you can stand in front of a crowd of 50 and not fidget or not want to faint? Interesting. Now, the person standing in front of you today, some 7 years ago, cannot stand in front of a crowd of 50 and I won't pass out. I remember a class we had a presentation, I studied architecture. And in the presentation, I had to stand in front of 70 persons to give a presentation of my own project. And getting in front of them, I stood for about 5 minutes and I couldn't say a word. And then my friends came to me and were asking me, Dean, what's going on? And I could not say anything. And that was when I realized that there's actually, should I say a demon that I had to fight, which was being able to address or stand in front of a crowd and not pass out. Now, we have many of us who have skills, we have gifts, we have talents that we possess. But for the life of us, we just can't achieve these things because there's that one thing that is standing in the way of you and that thing you're trying to achieve. And then I took certain steps that would help me to break this so-called demon. And the first thing I had to do was tell myself that, look, one day I'll be standing in front of a crowd, I'll be in the spotlight, which means I have to start working on myself now so that I can become, whoever it is I need to become. And she spoke about becoming you. And I mean, how do you know the you you're supposed to become? Many of us over the course of our lives have been asked, what do you want to become when you grow up? If you've been asked that question, can I just see your hands? All right. If you can tell me, at what age did you first hear this question? Huh? 6, 7, 5, 3. But then, what happens to you anytime you hear this question? Then, you probably said a doctor, an engineer, a pilot, and so many other beautiful things. But then let me give you 5 years after. They ask you that question again, what happens? Your answer will change. And then they ask you another 5 years after, what happens? Now, majority of you are students, I believe. And what you're studying in school right now, if what you're studying right now is what you said 10 years ago, can I see your hands up? Oh, very few people. All right. How many of us students here currently are already working jobs? Like you're employed, you're interning, you're freelancing, you're already working a job. Can I see your hands up? Now, what you're working as, is it in direct relation to what you studied or what you're studying in school? Interesting. Now, there is something called Jack of all trades. Can we complete this together? Jack of all trades, master of none. But then, if you hear this, what comes to your mind first? Pretty much it means that somebody who does a lot of things, but then doesn't master one and basically won't achieve anything in life. But then the actual quote, in its fullness, says, a jack of all trades, a master of none, is better than a master of one. Meaning that you can actually become really good in so many other things, not mastering one particular one, and you're still better than one person who focuses on just one. We live in this era where everybody keeps telling you to specialize. You need to learn something. You need to be an architect. You need to be an engineer. Most of our parents then, you must be a doctor. You send you to medical school, and then you realize that this is not what I really want to do with my life. Growing up, why were you telling yourself so many things? I want to be this, I want to be that. If you pick a child today, which I actually did, my nephews, they are twins, and I called one of them, thinking, what do you want to go and grow up? Surprisingly, he told me a YouTuber. Why? Because he watches other people, children like him, do these things on YouTube. There was a day who came to me and was telling me several things with dinosaurs. And I'm like, I don't know all these things. How do you know these things? He said, Ryan, a YouTuber, taught us on the internet. And I went to go and research Ryan. Apparently, Ryan is one of the youngest billionaire in the world, the highest paid YouTuber in the world, 7 years old, 7 or 8. And they keep seeing these things, and they keep telling themselves, I can be more than what I am right now. So why is it that what you're studying in school right now is not what you're working as for a job? Now, if we look together, the people on the screen right now, can we just identify this person? Alright, even though it's half of his face, that's Barack Obama. Then, Elon Musk, and who is the last person? That's Maya Angelou. Now, what do these three people have in common? Can we say? Now, you might think that Barack Obama is what? The 44th president of the United States. But then you know that he is actually a lawyer. But then right now, he's a lawyer, he was a president, he's an author, and he does a lot of things. But then, if he only specialized on law, would he be where he is today? Same thing for Elon Musk. He's not the best engineer in the world. But I mean, he has built the best things ever. And currently resides over 4 to 5 companies, and is currently the richest man in the world. Did he get there by being the best engineer? No. And then the last person, this is Maya Angelou. She's a writer, she's a poet, she's a public activist, and she was so many things. But then what she studied in school per se, or what she wanted to specialize in, did not bring her to where she was, or where she did get to. And what is common to these people is that they were all jack of all trades. They could literally do anything. They pick something, and they are capable of bringing it to a really good place, where people will look at it and say, okay, this is good. It might not be perfect. It might not be the best thing ever, but it is considered as good. Now, I'm a Christian. And in the Bible in Genesis, after God created everything, what did he say? And he looked at everything and they were very good. Did he say they were perfect? No. But he did so many things. Now, I'll be speaking to you, which I'm already about the multi-potentiality of creators. Now, many of us in our own sphere, in our own uniqueness, we are creators one way or the other. And I define a creator as someone who has a brain, who can think, and can bring about whatever it is you've thought about into existence. So you have a brain, you can think, and that thing can become a reality. That is who a creator is. So if you're telling me that I'm not a creator and you can use Excel, trust me, you're a creator. You open a blank sheet of Excel, and at the end of the day, you have so many data you put in to give particular action or a result. So every one of us here actually has a tendency to be a creator, if only you can harness it. But then one thing is particular, and it's the fact that we are multi-potential. We can do so many things. A lot of things. So having to think about it that I want to be just one thing is actually limiting the true nature of humanity. Because think about it, all around us we find several different things. You plant one particular tree, and if you look at the tree in its uniqueness, one tree is different from the other, even though they are of the same species. And they can do several things. But then, if you want to ask now that, who is a multi-potentialite, or who is someone who is multi-potential? This is somebody who has many different interests and creative pursuits in life. Which means that you're starting from a place where many of us could draw, we could sing, we could act, we could do a lot of things growing up. But then getting to a particular stage, they said you must be a doctor, and all those things die. Now today, the best of the best persons we see, they don't do one thing. You see a student, he's freelancing somewhere, he's writing, he's a digital creator, so many things. So when you look on about that idea of having to be just one thing for the rest of your life? Now there's this thing that says that curiosity actually is a strength. Growing up, you always reach into every single thing you find. You want to know, how did they make this? When I was very little, why is this TV talking? I want to find out. To the point where I broke on TV, I was opening the bag, and my dad almost killed me. But then it was just that curiosity that was in me that pushed me to want to know what exactly is going on here. What brought about this thing? And curiosity is a natural thing for us as humans. So if you decide that you want to kill that part of yourself, what you end up with is just being one thing for the rest of your life, getting bored, and just being like, what's the point of all this? Now, this character on your screen right now is called Mr. Potato Head. And if you are familiar with Toy Story, you must have seen this character before. Now, this very character has a lot of things inside of him. Looking at him just now, it looks like the guy is moody. He's not happy. He just looks so bored, giving you that look like, what do I want to be for the rest of my life? Like the same way we get, when someone asks you that question now, and then you don't know what to say. Even though you're in the university, you're studying something, or you already got a degree, and still you are asking yourself, what do I want to become? What do I want to do with my life? It's a very daunting question. But then, with the same curiosity that this particular character has, you would see that he has the ability to become whatever it is he wants to become, all by looking within. Right? The toy, as it were, has several things inside. And inside that particular head, you can start bringing out a lot of different things. And let's say a couple of things that this character is capable of becoming. Now, to the far right, you see Superman, you see Captain America, you see Spider-Man, you see Iron Man, you see Thor, you see a lot of different characters. But then, when a kid is given this gift of this Mr. Potato Head, you can reach into it and turn it into anything. The same idea with Legos. And I think this is the same approach I believe that most of us should take our lives. There is so much within us that we can bring from inside out, that if only you decide to reach in and be curious enough to know what exactly do I want to become in my life, then it brings you to a point of self-discovery. This is the first thing every one of us need to understand, right? And I didn't say that I'm not categorizing people into different parts now. I mean, every single person has the ability to be anything. And you can explore as much as possible if only you decide to discover yourself. Now, during self-discovery, one thing happens. You're just trying to search. Am I really cut out for this part? You explore for a bit, and then whatever it is results you get, even though it might not be perfect, you learn something from it, and then you move on. Now, this is someone that many of us know. This is Tunde Onokoya. And popularly people know him as the Nigerian chess, He's a chess champion. But then do you know that this particular person, he sings, he plays the piano, he's an artist, and he does a lot of different things, but then people know him for one thing, but then all these skills put together made him who he is. And I mean, it didn't start 2020 or 2021. It started as way back as 2015. Pushing that passion that he had, mixing it with several others to bring him to the place where he is. So it means that you can be a master of none. But then, across everything, you're good. When we talk about singing, you're fairly good. When we talk about acting, fairly good, which means that you have the ability to actually be flexible enough that anywhere they put you, you will try and you become something. Imagine if today, or not imagine, some 10, 15 years ago, maybe when some of us were in secondary school, there were some people that were called typewriter repairers or typewriters. I know a particular man in my primary school, all he does is repair typewriters. And now, does he have a job? There was a time as well that I think it was either UBA when they introduced Leo, and they had to let away a number of persons working in a particular department. Why? Because they brought in new skills and new tech items to get the job done, and they became obsolete. Now, what happens to these persons? In our world today, we no longer have job security, which means that you need to actually explore as much as you can to know which ones you're competent in. Now, the next thing that this brings you into is understanding that it allows you to be flexible. This flexibility that it affords you puts you in a point where no matter what it is that you lay your hands on, no matter what industry you get into, you would make impact. And there's a very good example that I have here. I don't know if many of you know this person. But then this is, please, can you echo it? This is MKBHD. He's one of the biggest tech YouTubers in the world. But then he's also a champion in ultimate frisbee. It's a sport. And if you really go deeper into his life, you see that there are a lot of things that this guy is good at. But then he focused on one to show him and give him the spotlight. And then there are others that keeps him going as a person. Which means that you don't have to just stick to one thing. You can be flexible across multiple things. And this raises your influence and your value as a person. Now, looking at the system in Nigeria today, do you know that there are a number of persons that if you place them in one place, come back 10 years from now, you'll still be there. But then a new generation came and said, no, I don't want to work in 9 to 5. I want to do something that I'm good at. And a lot of times, people just speak to Gen Zs and say, these people are not serious. They want things handed over to them. But to them, they believe that I am enough in myself to be able to explore whatever it is I want to explore. And it gave rise to this economy that we are in today. Without people like this, we don't have the internet. We don't have smartphones. TEDx, or TED as it were, won't be existing. But that was because some people thought it needed that we can actually explore ideas that I won't share. Let's just explore. That curiosity brought about a discovery of themselves and what is needed. They became flexible enough to make it that anybody in any country can have access to this platform and bring about their ideas and share it. So all these things that we're talking about is as a result of all these people that we've seen over the years. And then one last thing that it does for you, being a multi-potential person, is that you become great in business. Now, the first set of persons I showed you, a lot of them, Obama, Elon Musk, they had business knowledge and made them find a way to leverage the skills, the ideas that they have to become who they are today. Like I said, Elon Musk is not the best engineer in the world. But I mean, whatever it is that, whatever idea he gets, applying it to business knowledge gets him something valuable. Or can you sell a product without marketing? Now, let's digress a bit. Some few weeks ago, dollar 8, 7, 10, right? And then all over the place, there was chaos. You should have started investing in this, investing in that. But then what happens when you think about it as an avenue to just grow? Seeing that everything is changing, you also should change with it. And then we found people who just said, you know what, why not just create a platform that would allow you to save in dollars, or to do this, or to do that? By seeing problems, by understanding the idea that business can actually bring about a revolution for most persons, in the created things that we all value today. Many of us use platforms, I won't mention names, that help us say and do things better. And we've heard the phrase before, starving artist. You tell your parents that you want to be a content creator, and they probably want to raise courses on you that we sent you to school for 5 years, and this is what you want to do with your life. Most photographers understand what I'm talking about. Imagine after going to school for 7 years, getting a master's degree, and then I tell my parents, I don't want to practice architecture. Can you guess what they would say to me? I'm very sure the parents in the house understand what I'm talking about. But then, this is just a space for us to see that things have changed, and then there's a new breed trying to change the narrative. The traditional system no longer favors us. Because naturally, after say 15 minutes, 30 minutes, you're bored. You want to find something else to do. And you can actually channel this boredom, as it were, into something that helps you, makes you grow and become a better person. If you look at all the inventions today, they came out of a need that I'm tired of the way things are. Let me bring about a change. So, jack of all trades, master of none. The person on your screen, come back. Now, one person that I've seen, a lot of persons actually, but that I've seen that I found a way to, this is Rihanna. I believe we all know who this is. Before we knew her as a singer, then she started acting, and now she has one of the biggest businesses for the beauty world, for black people, and is making waves to the point that she has become one of the billionaires in the world today. First billionaire female, I think. And that happened because she was able to evolve as things were evolving. Who would say that music will get you to a good place? It might not, but then it brings you influence. And after some time, move to something else, into something else, into something else. But then saying that you can just do one thing for the rest of your life is an idea that many of us don't agree with. Am I correct? So what do we do about it? It's very simple. You apply a rule called the learning by doing rule. You learn 20%, and then you practice 80%. What that does for you is this. You just understand a little bit about something, and then you spend the next, say, 2 years practicing this thing. You learn by doing. You just don't learn. This is the problem with the educational system today. You spend 4 years in a place learning, and then you come out and still don't understand what you want to do with your life. Is that a healthy system? Can we echo it together? But then, it's actually a good system for you to network, to explore your gifts and what you can do with yourself, even whilst being in that particular system as well. Because majority of us became who we are today, all because we went to school. But it wasn't what we really led to school that made us who we are. It was the understanding that I cannot do this for the rest of my life, so I have to start exploring. What more can I do with myself that will bring me to a good place? So the 80 to 20% rule, basically what it means is that you will learn 20%, and the next 80, you practice. You practice. And there's also a rule that many of us probably must have heard of. It is 1,000 hours. Pretty much you have to be patient enough to do this thing over and over again. But do you know that you can actually split it, where you do the 100 hours or 1,000 hours across multiple things over the span of a period, and then whatever one it is they call you for, you can be competent, deliver the best of the best results, and become who you want to be. Now, I'll be showing you a couple of persons that many of us know that have been able to explore, they've been able to bring about the change for themselves by exploring multiple things. Multiple things. And these are people that we look up to today. Why? Because they were able to see that I can't just be one thing. They scattered their seeds across and it's yielded them results today. Now, I'll end this with you by saying that until you possess the ability to simplify your ideas and your thoughts. Now, you have many ideas, you have many expressions, you have many things you want to do with your life. But until you are able to simplify your ideas and thoughts without losing any quality or any value, you will struggle with producing your best work. So if you ask yourself, what do I want to become when I grow up? What do I want to do with my life? It doesn't have to be one thing. You have the ability to express, to explore as much as you can, but then make sure that as you're exploring them, you get good. You don't have to be perfect. Because they say that good, better, best, I shall never rest. I don't know how to sing the song. But then pretty much you have to get something. You don't have to be perfect. Just do it as good as you can and then move to the next thing. Thank you very much.